game on Sunday, man. I know you're nervous for the Rams, but you got to be a little enthusiastic after being there.
Bro, that game atmosphere was ridiculous. The energy, the electricity, that place was rocking. Anyone was there, and a lot of the Super Bucs fans were there too. The Bucs.
Tampa Tones. We are joined by Lee Goon tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron Show of WDAE, Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Going to put him on mute for a second until that gets a little clear. But we're joined by Pat Donovan.
It looks like Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.
It does look like we got a little...
No, my camera's broke.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Tampa Tones. It's Huncho here on your Tuesday night. Once again, friendly reminder. Every Tuesday night, the Buccaneers will be with you guys roughly 6:45 Eastern time until we feel like it. So join us every Tuesday night. We're going to be with you guys on sporadic other occasions as well. Hoping to bring interviews, hoping to bring player convos, coaching convos, and so much more. So we're joined by our co-host Huncho right now. Huncho, how the hell you doing, brother?
Doing much better now, brother. I'm doing much better now, man. I had a rough last week, but God willing, I made it through the situation, and I'm here alive with the infamous Tampa Tones. Another great show.
That's all that matters. And Jeremy's in the house joining us as well. He says, "What's up, fellas?" He's a frequent flyer nowadays. What up, Jeremy?
What up, Jay?
Huncho, we're glad to see you here, brother. I'm glad you can make it on. And every day's a blessing, bro, as we get into it here.
For sure. I appreciate it.
All right, brother. So tonight's show, we don't have a loaded agenda on deck. We have a couple of good things to talk about. We have Creamsicle discussion. Want to talk about that a little bit. We have Baker Mayfield comments to get into. His comments on the Tampa Bay Heat and weather, to be exact. We have Russell Gage injury, Bucs tight end room at a glance, and so much more. But let me ask you this, Huncho. I want to get this out of the way here as we're at the top of the show. Chris Godwin was out there today. He was able to talk to the media a little bit. How good was it to see Chris Godwin out there, especially in the past? He's missed some time with some big injuries. He wasn't out there right away last season. In fact, missed a game to start the year. How refreshing is it to see a pro's pro, a great veteran and one of the better wide receivers in the league, Chris Godwin, out there doing his thing today? It was pretty fun to see.
Yes, I was ecstatic, man, because if everyone doesn't know, Mike Evans is my favorite players in the NFL in all time. And I really like Chris Godwin also. He's right up there with Mike, right up under him with me. He's my second favorite player, I would say. And yes, it was a good thing. I was glad to see him out there performing and getting back to the off-season programming and, getting acclimated to the new system and leading the charge with all the rest of the guys. He's being back in the building, and he seems like he's in good spirits now. And I read that he said he's feeling like he's back almost to his normal self before the injury, when he's starting to feel a little more burst. His burst is getting back to normal, and you kind of need those things as a receiver when you get off the line and when you're trying to get separation and from guys. So I'm geared up for Chris Godwin. He showed up last year and fought through the injury, and you couldn't really tell. Sometimes he looked like the only receiver out there on the field, that was actually producing. And I think if he's feeling better than he did last year, then we're going to get a great another year from Chris Godwin, and I'm looking forward to it. Sorry about that.
Some notable veterans in attendance. You had Rashad White. You had Antoine Winfield Jr. You had Chris Godwin, obviously, as we're alluding to, amongst others, Anthony Nelson as well. So always good to see Chris Godwin doing his thing out there. And as someone says, he was back to close to 100%. The exact quote here is this from Scott Smith. He's feeling really good and thinks he's very close to being all the way back to his form before his late 2021 injury. He can feel his explosiveness coming back, as Huncho alluded to that. And it really does take almost a year to get back from an injury such as a ACL injury or such as a Tommy John injury in baseball, kind of similar there. Stunna, first off, how the hell you doing? Welcome in, brother, another great co-host of ours. And thoughts on Chris Godwin being able to be out there on day one today?
Oh man, it's very exciting. You know, Chris Godwin is a hero in the Tampa Bay area, and we're so glad that he stayed on with our team. And we expected big things from Chris Godwin, and hope everyone supports that young man because he's a very inspirational figure in our locker room.
Yeah, we love Chris Godwin here in Tampa, and he seems to have taken a hometown discount here last year. Not hometown, but team-friendly discount, I'd rather should say, comparable to what some of these wide receivers are getting paid around the league. It's a little crazy to see Godwin making what he makes, but we'll gladly take it. And veteran wide receivers are hard to come by. Speaking of veteran wide receivers, one of our topics of discussion coming into the show, if anyone peeped the itinerary, was Russell Gage's quote-unquote injury that came out of nowhere. Baker Mayfield alluded to today. He kind of let it slip. He said, yeah, he's a little bit banged up indeed, and he was looking good before he was banged up. So, fellas, we'll start with you first, Huncho. On the entire Chris Godwin, or on the entire Russell Gage thing, is it more encouraging he was looking good before he minorly got banged up, or is it more of a concern that he is indeed already banged up?
I think it's more of a concern that he is banged up because now, as you know, last year he was fighting through injury, and he had a lot of injuries going on with him in training camp last year, and we couldn't quite see the Russell Gage that we expected. I think it took a lot of play time away from him being injured, and now being that they're back already and he's getting injured early in camp before the contact even starts, it's kind of worrisome, and I don't know how serious the injury is and what's to come from it. That's about all that we did hear about the injury was from Baker Mayfield. I don't believe anybody really elaborated what it could be or what happened and the timetable of it or the severity of it. So I just pray that it was just a little nick and it wasn't too bad. But yeah, I'm more intrigued in the fact that he is injured than his production, because I believe that he is a productive wide receiver, but you have to be on the field to see that.
Yeah, I like your reasoning there. Stunna, what say you on the Gage situation and if he's banged up or not? Is it more concerning that he might be banged up, or is it more of a glass half full that Baker Mayfield said, hey, he was showing some good skill sets out there before the minor injury?
Yeah, I think it's a concern that he's banged up. He missed most of last season with an injury from training camp. I believe that he came to us from Atlanta with an injury history. So, it's not very encouraging that he's already hurt. We definitely need a wide receiver 3. So I hope we can find one.
And I think I still got faith in Russell Gage if he could stay healthy. And the big word there, the key factor there, is if, and he has had some injury history in Atlanta. Nothing ever too insane, nothing ever too crazy. But in 2021, he did miss a couple of games. And in 2018, he missed one game. In 2019 and 2020, he did play all of his games. So, really interesting stuff there. He has missed over 5, 6, 7 collective games in his career, roughly. So, we'll see what we can field out of Russell Gage this year. And I'm in agreement with you, gentlemen. I do think it's a bigger concern that Russell Gage is banked up than it is more encouraging of him and Baker Mayfield looking decent together before his injury. I mean, I like Russell Gage. He's showing promise out there, especially down the stretch to end last season. He had a couple of nice touchdowns, a couple of nice games, and then against Green Bay early on last season when we needed him, he stepped up a little bit and played some decent football, especially with Godwin and Evans out that week. He filled that wide receiver 1 role. So if he could be healthy with Baker Mayfield, I think that he could be a little dangerous as wide receiver number 3. I wouldn't write him off just yet necessarily. And we do have a comment here from Twitter. Pops on Twitter is joining us. Agree with what you guys are saying on Godwin and all of our good players. So why is the national media so down on the Bucs, especially in an awful division? Well, I'll share my input on that, and then we'll give it to Stunna, then Huncho. My opinion is this. I think that a lot of people are down on the Bucs because they hear the name Tom Brady has left the building, and they over-exaggerate a little bit. Now, obviously, Tom Brady, the greatest of all time, we're going to lose that fantastic goatness. We're going to lose that edge. We're going to lose his fire. We're going to lose his high skill sets of sorts, so to speak. Even at the age of 43, at what he was, I would have taken him back at 44, 45, 46. But his skill set did decline a little bit last year. And let's put it like this. Byron Leftwich isn't in the building anymore either. So I think a couple of people got the message mixed up where they're like, hey, Brady left. This offense is going to take a hit. When in reality, the offense should add creativity with Dave Canales, first time ever offensive coordinator coming in from Seattle, where he's done some great things over there with Russell Wilson, with Tyler Lockett, with Doug Baldwin's of the world. And not only that, Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask, QB competition, quote unquote, but odds are it will be Baker Mayfield at this point in time. He does add some mobility to the Bucs offense. And then you add in a draft pick of Cody Mock, you add in a signing of Chase Edmonds, and you add in a draft pick of Trey Palmer, Payne Durham as well. I could see where some people might think the offense will get a little bit better just based on offensive coordinator being new and on the personnel being a little different offensively, even though we are without Tom Brady. So I think the national media overhypes the Brady narrative, overhypes the Byron Leftwich narrative a little bit. I don't think our offense gets worse. If anything, I do think our offense gets better. And I don't think the media realizes how much key cogs on defense will be returning this season. And we do get a Shaq Barrett back down the road eventually. So, Stunna, what say you on this question? Why the media might be so down on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, especially in the division that we're in?
I think the media would be down on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because we returned the same head coach in Todd Bowles. We went 8-10 with Tom Brady, and we lost to some pretty sorry teams like the Browns and the Steelers. So there's not a whole lot of encouragement from the media's perspective on returning the same head coach. And you can say that, the offensive staff is different, but, the coordinators run through the head coach. So we had a head coach who had Tom Brady, had a pretty good roster last year, although we know there was a lot of overturn internally, but the media might not know that. And then we proceeded to go out and lay an egg against a bunch of below average teams and get blown out in the playoffs. And so I would tell our fans, just compare it to like when Dirk Cutter came back in 2018 after the 2017 season. And I think he went 6-10, and he came back and went 6-10 again. So that's basically what the media expects out of us this season.
Huncho, what say you? I don't think Stunna brings up bad points by any means, but I do disagree with him when he says the offense isn't going to change much under Todd Bowles, as Bowles is a defensive head coach, and really Leftwich seemingly was running the show last year, and really for the first time, Leftwich was able to solely run the show last year as Bruce Arians was out of the building. So to me, that was more of a Leftwich problem than a Bowles problem. What say you on that, and what say you on the media perspective of the Bucs coming into the season, Hunch?
I agree with both of you guys, honestly. Far as Stunner, he made some awesome points about losing Tom Brady and keeping the head coach and the losses that the teams that we actually lost to. It makes so much sense for the national media to look at it like that. But
Mm-hmm.
internally, we understand what's going on because we live, eat, and sleep Buccaneer football. So we understand what was going on. And I feel as if it's more refreshing to see Byron Leftwich gone. And yes, Tom Brady is one of, if the greatest quarterback of all time. But as you can see, that didn't mean much last year when you have an incompetent OC running the job. And I feel like with Byron Leftwich gone, it's going to be a much refreshing offense. And far as Todd Bowles goes, he didn't handpick Byron Leftwich, so we got to keep that in mind. And he didn't. He let a lot of Byron things that he did was ran through Byron because he was already here. And I feel like Dave Canales, with him aboard and players already buying into him, Cade Otton went in and said it's refreshing and it's exciting today when he spoke to the media. And just to have that new foundation on your offense and to see what you can do, because previously, with Brady, we had pretty much a statue back there, and you could do some things with Baker Mayfield that you couldn't do with Tom Brady. So that's why it leads me to be optimistic about this year. And of course, we will understand this because we're diehard Bucs fans, and the national media doesn't deep dive into situations and scenarios and the games as much as we did, and know the personal issues that we had with the coaches and so on and so on, and the Byron Leftwich turnover. It's a number of things, but none of that actually makes sense until you get on the field and you actually play. And I'm not lost at all. I feel like this is an exciting season that we have in store. I think we're going to shock a lot of people with what we can do, and what Dave Canales can do with our offense, and even with the pieces that we have for Baker Mayfield. And I say Baker Mayfield because I personally believe he's going to beat out Kyle Trask. And that's just my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You're free to believe in what you want, but that's what I'm speaking for. And I just feel like the national media doesn't cover as much details as the inside people that covers Tampa Bay, more so us guys also. So I feel like they just wanted to, when Brady came, they just shot everything to the top. So we were much predicated off Brady and what he has done versus what our team could do.
Hard to argue any of that, as you make some really good points there, Huncho and Stunna, as we are rolling through the Buccaneers here, and we hope everybody is having a safe evening, a good evening, particularly in the Tampa area, as there are some storms of brewing. Mike says, good evening, Buccaneers. Good evening, Mike. We hope you're having a great one out there. And Mike also makes a little joke. Bucs season ticket holders get a gift with their tickets. It's probably a head coach application form when the Bucs fire Bowles. And then he says, Baker, I don't trust. I'm going to say 5-12. Unfortunately, speaking of Baker Mayfield, he had some interesting comments to say about the Heat today in Tampa, not the Miami Heat, but the Tampa Bay weather Heat. He said, and keep in mind, it's only mid to late May, so the hottest months are ahead of him when he gets to a July, August, September. The media asked him today, hey, how do you like Tampa? He said it's really hot. And he was saying he's dripping just talking to the media. He feels really hot out there. Is that a big deal or no deal? The Heat, the comments Baker's making about the Heat. I mean, he's never really played in this hot of weather, and it's only May. It's only going to get hotter. I personally think it's a good thing that he is getting accustomed to the heat in these OTAs this early on. And we'll start with you there, Huncho. What say you about Baker Mayfield reacting to, holy crap, it's really hot here in Tampa?
Yeah, and once he said it's really hot, I believe one of the reporters said it gets worse, it gets hotter, and he was more like, "Oh man, don't like seriously," like he was shocked. And yeah, but I feel like any other quarterback that also came down in here and played Brady also went through it. You get accustomed to the heat when you're playing down here, so yeah, he's going to feel like that now because he's going through the process of trying to transition to the weather down here. So I feel like come training camp and mini camp, training camp, he will be more than ready for the heat and what it brings, and he'll have an advantage over more the other teams or the other quarterbacks that play. So yeah, right now I know it seems hot, but yeah, trust me, being a Floridian and being here all my life, I'm still shocked at the weather and how the heat still hits, man. I tell you not, this is a state, this is a place where you have to have your AC working, because if you don't have your AC working, you will regret it instantly. Also, you want to have tents on your car, or you're gonna regret it, because this is not a place where you could just ride it around with your windows down all the time, or you will melt. So just to say that, yeah, I think he'll be fine. It's football. When the pads and the helmet come on, you're out there playing football no matter what's the temperature.
I agree with you there. Good points, Huncho. Stunna, what say yourself on the situation with Baker Mayfield and the Heat? You know, are you concerned about that at all? And I know you've talked plenty about heat stroke and potential heat stroke in Tampa before. Do you think the heat is a big factor here for Baker, or do you think it's just going to take a little bit getting used to?
I think it's definitely a factor if he's used to the weather in Oklahoma or Cleveland. There's no weather like Tampa, and it used to be in our advantage. Like we used to have those 1 o'clock starts in September, and I don't know if you noticed, we quit having those.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason we quit having 1 o'clock starts in September is because the fans were falling out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If there's no substitute for the Florida Heat, and the one thing it does is that's why our high school athletes are playing the NFL, because it makes you highly conditioned to be able to be able to suffer and to be able to endure such weather. So it's like going it's like running through the jungle. You know, Creamsicle Revival had a song called "Run Through the Jungle," and that's kind of like what football practice is like if you're a Floridian. So there's really nothing like it. There's really no adaptation unless you just sit in a sauna for like 50 days straight. You might get used to it. But I'm very confident that Baker is an elite athlete and he'll figure it out.
And Stunna, you were a big advocate to get Baker to Tampa. You actually predicted a while back that Baker would end up in Tampa. So I'm excited for you to see what he could do in the offense. And I do agree with what you're saying there. Is me going
I like his skill set.
I agree. I do like his skill set as well. I think he could bring athleticism and ground game to the table, perhaps. Me says I think with the new OC and the astounding size of the new O-line, the ground game will take a lot of pressure off Baker and will allow him to have a season like he did towards the end of the season in LA. And for those of you unfamiliar, Baker at one point in time, pretty much he didn't start the game, but he backed up Wolford and entered the game rather quickly after 3 days signing in LA, ended up getting a win and looked pretty good when doing so. But speaking of looking pretty good, we got a return of the legendary Creamsicle jerseys, everybody. The Creamsicles are coming back, and we got a lot of good cats who are going to look good in these Creamsicles. Now, obviously, it would have been nice to see the likes of a Tom Brady or a Rob Gronkowski in some Creamsicle action. But what are you going to do? Beggars can't be choosers, and the Bucs do get a beloved fourth jersey back in the mix this year. We have our reds, we'll have our whites, we'll have our pewter, and now we'll have Creamsicle as well. We'll go around and ask real quick. Stunna, we'll start with you here. Creamsicle jerseys. First off, who are you most looking forward to seeing in a Creamsicle, either a coach or a player on the Bucs? And are you looking forward to the return of the Creamsicles?
Well, you know, I'm a big Carlton Davis fan, so, you know, I got to see my man out there shining in the orange, being from the 305 and whatnot. But not only do I want to see the Creamsicles, I want to see the Creamsicles that Sam Weiss once envisioned and Paul Gruber ruined for us, which is Creamsicle on Creamsicle, top and bottom.
Paul Gruber. Ruining the Creamsicles, huh?
No, he made them put on the white pants because Sam Weiss was going to put the creamsicle. Sam Weiss brought the creamsicle bottoms out because before then we only had white bottoms, and then Sam Weiss wanted to do creamsicle top, creamsicle bottom, and Paul Gruber changed.
A little bit of Bucs history there from our man Stunna with Paul Gruber background there. So always great hearing history from Stunna. Huncho, what say you? Favorite person or favorite player you're looking forward to seeing most in a creamsicle, and are you excited upon the return to the creamsicles?
Yeah, I'm excited for the Creamsicles. I loved them. I wish we actually played more in the Creamsicles. Actually, I feel like the only reason why we did away with the Creamsicle so much because the teams back then played so horrible with the Creamsicles that they just wanted to get that vibe and get away from that whole time that aura. Something like the alarm clock number. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And my player that I honestly want to see in there, I believe I've seen him in there, Mike Evans in it before. I believe he was around to wear it before. So I actually want to see one of the big guys, the defensive line. I really want to see what that defensive line is going to look with those creamsicle, the whole defense. I really want to see the defense. I want to actually see what that Yaya Diaby with that 0 and how physique how he's going to look
Muscles
wearing
McGee.
those creamsicles is going to look amazing, man. The defense is going to look amazing from White, from Levante, Carlton
Big
Dean. I think
Vita.
this is going to be Vita, yeah, big Vita. You got I think those guys on the defense is going to make those creamsicles look perform and look pretty hot. You get what I'm saying? But I love it. I love to see the creamsicle on creamsicle. That's a little Bucs OG history that Stunner put on me because I wasn't even aware of that. But that seems like it's fire. I want to see the combination that they're gonna bring it out with. But I'm definitely looking forward to it. I actually, when I got in an accident the other day, I had one of my creamsicle jerseys on then, and I ruined it because I had my Derrick Brooks jersey on, and once I fell, it put a massive hole right in my shoulder through the jersey, and yeah, it ruined it. So, but good thing I did have that jersey on because it was kind of thick, so it saved some of my injury. But I'm actually looking forward to buying some more creamsicle jerseys. I got an all-star creamsicle jersey also, so I'm just trying to look forward to adding to the collection.
Well, there you go. The creamsicle, not only a cool jersey, but helps save you, man. Glad to hear
Saves
that.
lives.
I have
Save
a
me.
I have a John Lynch creamsicle. I'm looking to add to that, and I have a Josh Freeman, but I don't speak of that.
Hey, Freeman looked it good in that jersey. I promise you. I liked it when Freeman wore that jersey and his stature and how he looked it pretty damn good in that creamsicle jersey. I didn't like how he afterwards how he performed, but far as the look on him, it looked it pretty sharp.
I agree. And speaking of looking sharp, we have a couple comments about the creamsicles. Lewis is joining us on Facebook. Thanks so much, Lewis. Says can't wait for the creamsicles. They're starting to grow on me. They are beauties. And then Mike says I'm looking forward to seeing the field with the Bucs helmet at the 50-yard line and orange Bucs end zones. And for those of you also wondering why the creamsicles went away, the NFL became strict with their helmet policy. The Bucs were only able to wear one helmet, and they didn't really want to wear the pewter helmet with the creamsicle jerseys as well. Now the NFL is allowing multiple helmets. You've seen teams dip last year into more egregious jerseys with the rule change, and now the Bucs are doing so. Some teams in the past found ways around it, like the Packers. They would just dip their helmets in black paint for their throwbacks since it was technically the same helmet. They were able to do that. Pretty good idea there. I'm looking forward to seeing Mr. Ryan Jensen in a creamsicle. I think Big Red is going to look big, beautiful in that creamsicle, and he'll look pretty sharp in my opinion, and I'm very much so looking forward to the return of the creamsicle. Speaking of sharp, Buccaneers have the proclaimed sharpest rookie wide receiver in the NFL. Legendary quarterback son, Kurt Warner's son, joined the Bucs as a undrafted free agent wide receiver out of Kansas State. Cade Warner says he's the smartest rookie receiver not only in the Bucs, but around the NFL league. Stunna, do you agree with that? Or do you think those comments are kind of asinine? Or do you back up those comments? Do you stand in Cade's corner and say, if you truly believe it, talk what you think? You're the legendary son of Kurt Warner, one of the better QBs of all time. It's okay to feel that way. Or are you going to say, slow your roll, rookie? We'll be the judge of that. Stunna?
I'm sorry, hit me back, man. I'm in a monsoon out here.
All right, be safe, brother, as it is storming.
No, just ask the question again.
All right, Cade Warner, do you think he's the smartest rookie wide receiver in the league, like he's saying, yes or no?
He might be, but running routes and catching the ball and getting open is more important.
I agree with you there, brother. We need him to actually step up on the field. And guys, it is storming out there, as our own Stunna is in the middle of a storm. Our own Huncho was in the middle of that storm earlier. So you, ladies and gentlemen, in the Tampa area, be safe. It is storming out there. Our own Stunna is in the middle of it, combating the storm while being on the Buccaneers. You love to see the fight, the heart, the hustle, and the muscle from the Buccaneers podcast. Rain or shine, storm or sun, we're here to bring you the Buccaneers. Huncho, what say you on the Cade Warner thing? Do you like that he's a little more cocky and saying, hey, I'm the smartest man in the room? Or are you telling him, hey, even though you're the son of a legend like Kurt, you got to slow your roll and you got to slow down a little bit?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
You went out. Yeah, okay, I hear you now, Thomas. But how I feel is, his dad was a smart quarterback. You're more than what right to feel that way. I notice in sports, a lot of these athletes, they yourself to be one of the greatest ones, one of the best ones, and you want to have that confidence when you go about your business. I don't feel like that's a bad thing at all for you to say that, and if you honestly feel like that way about yourself. But it comes down to production and actually displaying that on the field. So that's good that you think highly of yourself, but now you're putting eyes on you're going to put an extra set of eyes on yourself, because now we're going to be looking for you to back that up, because smartness, we're going to contribute that with running routes and winning jobs and being open and being where we need to be, and not looking for mistakes, since you're the smartest rookie that's coming wide receiver. I expect a lot of you now, just by you open your mouth and saying that, and I hope that you can fulfill those promises, that you feel like you're the best one. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're pretty sharp. Your dad was a great quarterback for a while in the NFL, so I'm pretty sure he put you up on a lot of things and set you up nice for the role that you're going to play. So I just want to see a transition to the field, but he's not wrong at all for feeling the way he feels. But if he's confident enough to open his mouth and say that, then I'm looking forward to you producing and performing.
I agree. Put your money where your mouth is, as the old saying goes. And if Kurt Warner's son, Cade, is saying that, well, he'll have to produce. And Mike asked a question, just one Creamsicle game or more this year? It's just going to be one, is my understanding, Mike, kind of like how we did the games from like 06 to 2010 when we wore the Creamsicles, when Josh Freeman, the Garrett Blunt, and those cats were in those Creamsicles. We did it once a year. It made it feel more special. It made it feel more prolific. So I think that, they're going to continue that special feeling with the Creamsicles. They're going to want to make him feel more special for the people. So I'm going with, I think they'll have one Creamsicle game this year. And James Rubright, the Godfather, joining. Hello, men. Let's see what you guys got for this week. And Huncho, what's your thoughts quick on the one Creamsicle? As a Godfather, James Rubright joins us on Facebook.
I mean, it's kind of unfair, because I like to see them play more often in it, and I don't know if it's one game during the regular season, or is it going to be including the playoffs if we make it to the playoffs, or I like to see if we make it to the Super Bowl, to see a Creamsicle throwback. That'll be amazing, man, right? To have that throwback Creamsicle theme going all through the stadium for the Super Bowl, that'll So yeah, I definitely feel like we should have more games with the creamsicles. And I remember we had the what was the all red jerseys and the pewter jerseys.
The color
What
rush.
yeah, the color rush. Are they still doing the color rush, or are
We'll still have
they're
the
done away
pewters.
with that?
We'll have the pewters.
I couldn't hear you. Pardon.
We'll have the pewters once a year. Yeah.
Oh, once a year on that too. So I mean, I guess we get different jerseys. I just wish we could play more so in them because they've been gone for so long. I would love to see them, and I love the helmets also. So I would like to see more of that. But I definitely want to attend the game that we do go to those throwback jerseys on. It's sad that we only have one game, but I wish we had more.
I agree with you there, my friend, as you guys are tuned into the Buccaneers podcast live right now on Buccaneers podcast YouTube page, Bucs Life News LLC Facebook page, and so much more as we're dwindling down here in the episode. We got two more topics of discussion before we get to our one big thing walk off and then our final words of the show. The Bucs have a young tight end room. It's one of the rooms with a lot of younger whippersnappers in there. We got 2 second-year tight ends, and we're going to have a rookie tight end coming in. Cade Otton, Keith, who were here last year as rookies, and now we brought in Durham Payne to the room as well, rookie tight end out of Purdue. Out of those 3, Stunna, we'll start with you here first. Who do you think steps up the most at the tight end position in 2023 as a whole? Will it be the rookie Payne Durham, or will it be one of the second-year cats in Cade Otton or Keith?
I'll go with Payne Durham. I thought Keith could have stepped up last year as a fullback, but I wasn't really impressed with his blocking. And then Cade had too many drops. He had flashes, but he just dropped the ball too much for me. So I'm hoping that Payne will take over that tight end 1 role.
Huncho, what say you? And I think that's fair reasoning there from Stunna. Are you saying the same? You think Payne Durham's going to be the one to step up, or do you have Keith or Cade Otton is your biggest tight end in the room at the end of 2023?
I believe it's going to be Cade Otton because just hearing him talk, and one reason why I'm going to say it's not going to be Payne Durham because you do have the transition to the NFL, which I feel like Cade Otton had to get adjusted to, and a lot of things. And yeah, he had some dropsies, but he did have some big time catches also, and I feel like more now he has a whole he could focus on the NFL. He already knows what's expected. He's already played a year in the NFL, so he's more acclimated to what to do as a tight end and how to carry herself. When Payne Durham, he has to adjust and find those things and find those spots in the defense. And I feel like is going to take a leap forward. After him, it's be Keith because I believe Keith wants to be known for more than blocking fullback in. And as I seen a clip of him catch deep ball from Baker Mayfield, and he like dove and was craziness. I love to see some more of that from him, and he had some spectacular things he did for the team also last year. So I think it's going to be in that order: Cade Otton, then Keith, and then we'll see Payne Durham. He might get more acclimated to the NFL sooner than the other guys did, but I'm not looking too much forward to what he can bring this year, more so in the years to come, because it's a transition. But
right.
To answer your question, I believe Cade Otton, he's going to step up in a major way and be our number 1 tight end.
And I think that you're not wrong, and I think Stunna could be right as well. I would lean Cade Otton out of Durham and Otton personally, but to play devil's advocate here and to just be that third difference maker, I'm going to go Keith. I'm going to say Keith as the collective tight end steps up the most between his run blocking, his pass blocking, and as Huncho alluded to, we've seen Baker Mayfield throw a deep ball to Keith. That was at Keith's first career touchdown when he actually lined up as a fullback and on play action got open and caught one from Tom Brady. I think that the best all-around tight end, not saying catch tight end, not saying blocking tight end, the best all-around tight end purely, in my opinion, or the one who steps up the most in 2023 will be co-Keefed. I think Otten will be good at total receptions. I think, as Jeremy alludes to, Payne Durham will be really good in the red zone. I'm going co-Keefed in totality in 2023.
Either way, it's a win, right?
Altogether, it's a win. I think all of them do contribute, Huncho.
Yeah, if any of those guys step in a major way, it'll be great for the team.
Yeah, we got 3 young tight ends to build around.
That's a beautiful thing. They're all in year 1 or year 2, and from the tight end position, after coming off Gronk and Brait and guys like Kyle Rudolph, although he didn't do much here, some legendary tight ends, you want some new shoes to fill, and I think Otten, Keeft, and Payne could be 3 young guns who do step up into the Bucs tight end room and make it that less of a big difference. As we are here on the Buccaneers, it's a rainy one in Tampa, so join us for about 10 more minutes or so. We have one more question to dig into before our one big thing walk-offs and final words. You can keep up with the podcast on Twitter and all of our co-host thoughts and so much more at Buccaneers. Follow us on Instagram today at Buccaneers Pod. Keep up with us on YouTube at Buccaneers Podcast. And keep up with us on Facebook at Bucs Life News LLC. And you can follow along with the journey as well on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast, and so much more where you can find your podcast as well. Fellas, let me ask you this. This is more than just a football question, and I wanted to end the show with, we're not ending the show, but the last topic of discussion on the show with kind of a big one, with kind of a head scratcher. And it has to do with the Tampa Bay Rays. And we've heard all these years now, decades and decades, how the Tampa Bay Rays have wanted to build in Tampa. They've wanted to build in St. Pete. One point in time, Stu Sternberg had him move into a different country, for damn sakes, Canada, for peeps' sakes. Let's put it like this. The Buccaneers are in Raymond James Stadium. They do things a pretty good way. They run a pretty tight ship. They get a pretty good fan base. And before Brady, we might have been hurting for a little bit of attendance, but we were never bottom of the barrel in attendance at the same token. Now, there's not that much room in Tampa to build a new stadium, and the Bucs in a decade or so might be a team that wants to consider building a new stadium. So, Stunner, we're going to start with you here, being a Tampa historian. Do you think the Bucs impact the Rays at all to either stay in St. Pete, move to Tampa, or dodge town elsewhere? And I do think the Rays stay in the state of Florida at this point in time, either St. Pete or Tampa. And I think the Bucs are helping their case staying in Tampa or St. Pete.
I don't think the Bucs impact them at all. I think that baseball fans are not football fans; they're different fan bases. I think that the Rays ownership is the biggest issue. I don't think that the Tropicana field is sustainable. They have skyscrapers going on all around that thing. They're ready, it's downtown St. Pete. They're ready to build. And Pinellas County is not large. Just doesn't have a lot of people like Hillsborough County does. Mm-hmm. So the Seminole Hard Rock Casino already offered to build a stadium right there at the fairgrounds. There's plenty of room at the fairgrounds, and they could have easily put a stadium there. Honestly, I'm over Stu Sternberg. I wanted to sell the team.
Huncho, what say you? Do you think the Bucs impact the Rays on staying in the Tampa area for better, for worse, or non-impact?
No, I don't believe they impact them. They haven't this long while. I don't think they have any impact on it. I feel like, some baseball fans aren't as much football fans. As much football fans as strictly just football fans. So, I don't feel like they impact anything or have anything to do with the move. I would love for the Rays to move to Tampa so we can, so I can catch some more games instead of driving over there. And it's a sticky situation, but personally, I don't think that they have anything to do with the Rays.
For those listening, believe it or not, Huncho, Stunna, and myself, we all went to a Rays game together right out of COVID. It was Rangers-Rays, actually. It was a pretty fun one, and we support the Rays as we do the Buccaneers. So I think that, there's not a huge correlation there. I do, however, believe that the Bucs showing that they could win in Tampa, sustain a winning culture for a couple of seasons, and bring in that type of fan base, I do think that makes Stu Sternberg's eyes light up a little bit and say, hey, we could bring the heat here. We just got to figure out how. And they started to slowly do that this season with Randy Land, a couple season ticket standing room only details and all that. So much fun stuff there for Tampa Bay Rays. I do think the Bucs minorly help him stay in the area in a weird way, not a direct way, but a weird way. And fellas, we are approaching that time. We're heading towards the top of the hour. It's time for our one big things and walk-offs, and then we'll go around and give our final words after. So, Stunna, we'll start with you here, sir. One big thing and walk-off on our weekly Tuesday night episode of the Buccaneers. And for those tuned in, once again, we are coming at you guys live every Tuesday, 6:45 Eastern time during the off season with sprinkled in episodes as well. So, Stunna, one big thing or walk-off, sir.
One big thing is we're in the OTAs right now. We're all we got. Let's circle the wagons as a fan base. Let's all encourage each other and let's kind of lean on each other inside this fan base. We know that the national media has never liked us, and we don't care what they think because we're Florida boys and Tampa Buck fans from around the nation and world, and we don't really care what other people think about us. So, big ups to all our haters. We don't care. We're going to do this. We're going to be a united fan base. No mutiny or you walk the plank. And then my walk-off is fire to cannons. Let's get excited. We have a nice schedule this year. Let's get to some of these home games. And I would always love to wear the Creamsicle against Atlanta since we have a similar color scheme. With all that said, fire the cannons and go Bucs.
I'd love to wear my Creamsicle. John Lynch watching the Bucs in Creamsicle. That would be beautiful and fantastic. And Stunna, I love how much fandom you shout out and appreciate because at the end of the day, the fans, the super fans make the ones who make Bucs Nation go round. Huncho, what's your one big thing or walk off before we get to our final word? And I think I accidentally have it. Go on, Huncho. I'm sorry about that.
My one big thing is to I want these guys to stay healthy, man. Stay healthy is the one big thing that I think we need to be aware of because none of this greatness thing that we have envisioned for our team won't happen if they can't see the field. So I want more so guys to prepare and take care of their bodies as much as possible and I want them to always just do what they can to stay healthy, and that's my big thing, so we can make it to the regular season at full capacity with our starters and backups.
I love it, Hunch, and I really do love that. My one big thing and walk-off is this. Stay with the Buccaneers all offseason. We're going to have exciting coverage, exciting news, great co-host on. Stunna is a historian. Huncho is always around the Tampa area watching, keeping up on the social medias, going to OTAs and all that sort of stuff. So stay with the Buccaneers, everybody. Stay with us this offseason. Every Tuesday, we'll be with you, firing the motherfucking cannons, as Jeremy says. Fire the damn cannons. We'll be doing that every Tuesday night here, moving forward, 6:45 Eastern time until, who knows, it could be 15 minutes, could be an hour and 15 minutes. We're going to be bringing you guys all the latest and greatest weekly during the offseason. We don't care if it's a little dry. We'll make topics a convo like we did today. And, oh, by the way, we're going to be bringing you guys former Buccaneers. We're going to be bringing you guys, hopefully, rookie Buccaneers. We got Florida International outside linebackers coach and former Buccaneer Anthony Gator lined up for the show. We hope to link up with James Canada, former Bucs D tackle. Perhaps we have a couple rookies on our eyesight, hopefully to get on the show in the near future. We haven't been able to sit down and talk with them back, but maybe friend of the show, Kalen Geiger on Buccaneers wide receiver again as well. Who the hell knows? But one big thing in walk-off is this. With all the podcasts and all the content out there, make some time once or twice a week, whether it's live or on Apple, Spotify, Google, or YouTube, the instant replay, or Bucs Life News Facebook. Join us. Join the Buccaneers. You won't regret it. We have a lot of fun talking about Buccaneers football. We even sprinkle in some Rays. We sprinkle in some Lightning. You know how we do. And the Godfather says, I have a good time listening to you guys. you guys know your Tampa Bay Bucs. I'll be tuning in next week to listen, and you guys, you're the best, Godfather. And that's what I'm saying. We have Bears fans listening to the show. That's how much they appreciate Huncho, Stunna, myself, Cats, Bucko, and all our guests talking Buccaneers football. So you guys join us, whether you're a Bears fan, an NFL fan, a Rays fan, a Bucs fan, a Lightning fan, join the show. There might be a little nugget that you learn throughout the segments and throughout the night that you really appreciate, like James Rubright does. We appreciate the Godfather, James Rubright, tuning in every Tuesday night with the Buccaneers as well. My walk-off is stay with the Buccaneers. Stunna, last word, buddy?
Last word is, like you just said, I'll kick back on you. Stay with the Buccaneers. Be about that Bucs life. Represent the Buccaneers. We don't got no loose cannons. We ain't no bucking idiots. We Buccaneers up in here.
Huncho, I think Stunna said it pretty good right there. Last word, brother.
Yeah, hold the Buccaneers down. We starting from the bottom, and we're gonna reach the top. We coming here consistently, and we're gonna give y'all the best content that we can give y'all every Tuesday. Go Bucs!
What's that song? Club going up on a Tuesday or something like that? I don't know if the club's going up on a Tuesday.
We be clubbing on a Tuesday.
We might be clubbing on a Tuesday, fellas. I mean, if I come out to Tampa for Monday Night Football, Bucs Eagles, opportunities are endless. You never know what the hell happens when the Buccaneers crew gets together, fellas. You just never really know. My final word is enjoy good people, because that's what the Buccaneers podcast led me to. It brought me to some really good people. Stunna, Huncho, great Bucs fans, two of my best friends now, especially in the world of Bucs. I love it, man. I love Huncho, I love Stunna, and I love Cats, I love Bucko, and I love all my Buccaneers brothers who we're lucky enough to talk football with on a weekly basis. So my final word is show that love to those who you enjoy talking to. It goes a long way, guys.
Much love, Tones. Much love, man. Brotherhood forever, man. I appreciate everything that you do. You also, Stunna, man. You know, you and your takes, wow. But you know I got much love for you, brother.
You know it. Represent the 813, always and forever. Y'all stay up. Go check out a spring football game, man. Support the local young kids. Go Bucs.
Go Bucs, fire the damn cannons. We love all y'all. Thank you so much for listening. And until next time, we'll see you on the gridiron. Tampa Tones, Huncho, Stunna, we out. Thanks so much for being in and joining the Buccaneers. Come with us next Tuesday. Same place, same time. You won't regret it. It may be a weekend show. You never know, depending on how we roll. This has been the Buccaneers. Fire the damn cannons. Go Bucs. We love you guys so much. Game on Sunday, man. I know you're nervous for the Rams, but you got to be a little enthusiastic after being there.
Bro, that game atmosphere was ridiculous. The energy, the electricity. That place was rocking. Anyone was there, and a lot of the Super Buck fans were there too.
Tampa Tones. We are joined by lead goon tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron Show of WDAE, Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Going to put him on mute for a second until that gets a little cleared. But we're joined by Pat
It looks like
Donovan.
Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.
It does look like we got a little.
No, my camera